Hey y'all, welcome back to Apron Strings. I know it's been a minute since I was here, but it's been a lot going on, and besides that it's hot and I didn't want to be in the kitchen. But today I'm going to cook some peas that I grew in the garden out back. There's about 2 cups of them here. So I'm going to get those cooked, and I was going to bring you along for that, and then we're going to make some zucchini fritters to go with them. And I've got a couple of tomatoes I think I'm going to slice up for us to have with them. But anyway, this is probably more carbs than Troy needs, but he got some taste of the peas that I raised in my beds out back. So right now in my little pot over here on the stove, I've just got some bacon, and I cook it until it's kind of crisp. And of course I leave the bacon grease in there because that flavors my peas real good. So let me get the bacon cooked off, and I'll show y'all what it looks like, about how much I cook it. And then we'll get our peas and our liquid and our seasoning in, get the lid on them and let them simmer for about an hour, and they should be done. Then we'll work on our fritters. I'm anxious to have some zucchini fritters. Of course, I like to dunk them in ketchup. Y'all can eat them however you want to, but they're good, and it's a wonderful way to use some of that extra zucchini. Now my zucchini, they were stubborn. I didn't hardly get any zucchini. I got, I guess, the powdery mildew, and then I trimmed them out and so they could get air, and I guess I made them mad. They didn't make any more zucchini. So what I'm using today, I bought, but we're still going to have good fritters whether I bought it or raised it, and I'm going to try again. I'm going to plant some and see if I can grow some for the fall. It's just about time to clean out my peas and green beans back there and go ahead and get something else in the beds where I can have plenty of time. Our first freeze is usually around Thanksgiving. Well, they bumped it up. It used to be the 10th of December. Now they're saying Thanksgiving. So I've still got plenty of time to get stuff planted because I water, it should grow, and have some more vegetables back there. All right, let me get my bacon done, and then I'll be back. Okay, my bacon is just beginning to be crispy, and it's got some, probably a couple of tablespoons of bacon fat that's cooked off in there. So I'm going to add 2 cups of water, and I may have to add some more. But then I'm going to add a little bit of, let me get a spatula over here. A little bit of chicken bouillon, because I just like that extra little kick of flavor that it gives. Now if you have some canned chicken broth, you can, or beef broth, you can use that. Or you can just use water and season it. But I usually add a little bit of bouillon to it. As old Emerald Lagasse would say, kick it up a notch. And I'm just going to guesstimate, but I'm going to put a tablespoon or so of onion powder. That's probably 2 tablespoons of onion powder. Told y'all one time Lauren said, Nana, there's no way, and we measured it and I was right. And that's about a teaspoon of garlic powder. After a while, you learn from doing it. And I'm going to put a few cranks of black pepper in here. And everybody always wants to know where I got my little hand cranker. I got it at Sur La Table. And it sure is good for old hands. Now I'll taste later and see, and I'm going light on the salt for Troy, but I am going to put about, that's about a ½ a teaspoon, and we'll see because the bouillon had a little bit in it. So we'll see, we'll do a taste test and see what our flavors are like and add to them and see what we have to do. I'm going to let this heat, and I'll taste it, and I'll let y'all know what I do different, and we'll add the peas to it. Now you can do this same method with fresh green beans, fresh pinto beans, butter beans, anything like that. You can cook it like this. So just so you know, this is just a basic seasoned broth to cook most fresh vegetables in. I like to do yellow squash like this, and then put the squash in and cook it just till it's tender. Oh my goodness, it's yummy. Okay y'all, I tasted of it, and it's just about right, so I'm going to put my peas in. I like to have extra juice because I like juice to sop. So I'm going to bring that up to a simmer. and put the lid on it, put it on low, and let them cook until they're done. And then we're going to work on our zucchini fritters closer to time for them to be done, because I want my fritters to be hot like I would if I was making cornbread. We're going to need 4 cups of grated zucchini. So I'm going to go ahead and get it grated, and then what we're going to do is put it on in the colander and sprinkle salt on it to bring some of the fluid out of it, the liquid, where it won't make our fritters so mushy to where they'll fall apart when we start to fry them. Now when you're going to fry something like this, you're not going to deep fry it. You're going to put just enough oil to cover the bottom of the skillet and have a little bit in there, maybe ½ an inch, and that's to keep them from being soggy with grease. And you cook them on one side, and you don't flip them back and forth, they'll fall apart. You cook them on one side, and then you barely check to see if they're, I'm going to put this in here because I can get my 4 cups. You check, lift them up and see if they're good and brown. You want them real brown. You don't want if you start flipping them back and forth, they're going to tear up on you. That goes for salmon patties or whatever you're cooking like that. You let one side brown good and then you flip it over. Now I could have got my food processor out. I'd just rather grate this by hand. It's not too big of a job, especially when I got a bunch of people to talk to while I'm doing it. Sure am thankful for all of my new subscribers. I hope y'all watch every video and hit that like button. Now, I don't know what that does, but it does something to help you get a bunch of likes. I guess I could research it, but this is mostly for fun. So I'm not going to do that right now, but I do like it when I look and have a bunch of likes. I think these 3 little ones is going to be enough. So, and if you have a great old big one that you can't do anything else with, grate it up. The only thing, some of them have great big seed in them. I don't know if those seed would grate or if you need to, you know, try to maybe take some of the seed out of the middle and grate the rest of it. And I know Mama had a zucchini, she called it bread, but it was a cake. And she would use big zucchini to do it. I got some gloves over there I could use that I bought for my mandolin. Keep from cutting my finger off or skinning my knuckles. But I about got this. Okay, that was 3 cucumbers. I mean 3 zucchini about the size of a good cucumber to cut up. And that made 4 cups grated. So I'm going to get it in the colander and toss it with a teaspoon or so of salt and let it pull the liquid out for a little while, and then we'll come back when the peas are done and make our fritters. Okay, y'all, I've taken my zucchini and pressed as much as I could through the colander, but you know what, there's a little bit more in here. Getting it on these paper towels here. I'm not going to worry a whole lot with it because we've got flour going in it, but I do want it to be as dry as I can get it. Okay. There will be a recipe card at the end of the video, but I'm going to tell you as I go along what I'm putting in. I'm putting in 2 eggs that I've whipped up, gifts of my ladies. Calls for 1/4 cup of green onions. I didn't have green onions, so I shredded up or grated part of a purple onion and some chives. The chives are more for color. I put a tablespoon of onion powder and a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Now, I rinsed my zucchini off because, and you don't have to do that, but the salt should have been sprinkled over the zucchini, and then you just squeeze it out, and what salt that's left in it is what flavors your stuff. So I rinsed mine to be sure that I had it all out and it wouldn't be too salty. Now I'm going to get my skillet hot back here on about a medium heat. My peas are still cooking. I'll show y'all in a minute. what they look like. Now, if you wanted this pretty, you could grate some carrot in it and mix your squash, zucchini, and yellow. And I like pretty, but Troy don't like pretty. He said if he had to choose something real colorful like that and something plain, he'd choose the plain. I like everything pretty, and they say you eat with your eyes first. I like for it to look attractive. Okay, it's glooping up here, which is what we need. Now this is all-purpose flour. My recipe didn't call for any baking powders or anything like that. So this is just flour in here. Get out of there. And you just take you a spoon of it and drop it in your hot oil. You want your oil to be hot, because when you put this in there, it's going to cool it down some. So I'm going to let my oil get pretty warm. I'm not going to use a temperature thing, but I'm going to let it get warm to where when I put my fritter in, because they're cool, it won't cool it down too much and they won't just sit there and break apart. You want your oil at least 350. You cut it on up till it gets hot enough. And my peas are still cooking. Let me bring the camera over there where I can show y'all putting the fritters in and show you what the peas look like. Oh, I do declare. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I thought I had the camera on. This is what the peas look like. See, they're brown crowders, and I'm going to let them continue to cook until the fritters get done. I just talked up a storm to y'all while I was dipping these fritters out and putting them in here, telling you to, I don't know if I told you that or not, where you'll know to put your oil at about 350 to start with, because it was going to cool them down. And I just took a tablespoon and got a scoop about as big as an ice cream scoop and put it in and mashed it down. Now, when I think they're good and brown on the bottom side, we'll flip them over. But I don't want to stir them and bother them, so we'll be back in just a minute, show y'all what they look like when I turn them over, and I'll be sure the camera's on. Don't they look good already? Now I took a cookie sheet and put some paper towel in it and put like a rack that I cool my cookies on to put these on, because anytime I fry something like fried cornbread or whatever, I don't like to just lay it down on a paper towel, because when the grease goes into the paper towel, it gets soggy. So if you do it like that, it'll drain down and they'll be crisp and good. Okay, I flipped one of them over and it's good and brown. Now you can top these with sour cream, whatever you want to top them with, or just eat them like, we're going to kind of eat them like cornbread. And the top side's not too hot, or I wouldn't be doing it like this. Now that's about how brown I like them. Like the little baby one, but that's okay. Now once you get them done, and the other side is good and crisp, you can flip it back over to brown this side a little bit more. But don't be flipping them back and forth when they're just barely been in there, because they'll tear into pieces. They're all good and brown and just about ready for me to take them out and put them on the pan. So, won't be but a jiffy, I'll be taking them up. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna see if I can get my spatula under it. I'm having a little trouble because I don't have my other hand to use. Come here to me, you little stubborn outfit. I want to do that one a little bit more on the other side. kind of hot over that pot where the peas are cooking. Okay, I'm going to get these over here on the butcher block, let them cool a little bit where I can taste of it, and I'll taste of them for you. Okay, y'all, these fritters already broke it in two where it would cool a little bit. I'm going to see what it tastes like. That would be good with some sour cream on it. Be good dipped in ketchup or salsa, but it's good just like that. And I'm going to eat it with the helping of these peas, and that's going to be supper. So this is something y'all can make. Use up the rest of those zucchinis that you have on the cabinet or in the ice box, and you don't know what in the world you're going to do with them. That's very good. I don't know why they wouldn't be good warmed up. You know, the recipe always says serve them warm. I think those would be good if you heated them up, but I would heat them in a skillet or toast them instead of putting them in the microwave. Anyhow, we got a good rain today. It has been so dry, and 103 and 104 degrees. It's been awful. I've been watering some days morning and evening, but we got a really good rain this evening, and it wasn't even forecast. Those guys don't do their job very well, and they sure make good money. Wouldn't it be good if you could make that kind of money and miss as much as they do on the forecasting? I'm just glad we got it. Thank you, Jesus. We needed it. Hope y'all have a good week. I hope you have a garden and you're getting to eat some good fresh vegetables out of it. And if not, I hope you're trucking them down to the farmer's market and eating fresh. That's so much better for you. Now, this is my soapbox. I think the reason there's so much sickness in our world is all the processed food and the chemicals that go into raising it commercially. If we could get back, to growing our own garden and not using all that stuff, you'd see a healthier bunch of people. Because if you don't wash it good and get all the chemicals off, then you're eating them. And they take a toll on your body after a lifetime of eating that stuff, yeah. So think about eating fresh. Even if you go to the farmer's market, you're going to have to wash it good because you don't know what they've used. But if you grow it in your own backyard, you know what you put on it. And that's so much healthier. So y'all need to think about doing that where you can, be self-sufficient if things get rough and we can't get stuff in the store. I've been telling y'all about it. So get you a few things in your pantry, get you some seed packets. Make a few preparations. If you don't know how to garden, watch YouTube. You can learn anything on YouTube. Things you need to know and some things you don't need to know. Be picky about what you watch. The good Lord bless and keep y'all. I'll try to be back in a day or two with something else good to eat. Meanwhile, I hope you try this and let me know what you think about it. I'll see y'all in a day or so. The good Lord bless you.